Good afternoon. First of all, I wish to thank all our donors, contributors, and volunteers to the National Stakeholder Forum. Indeed, your efforts have led to the easing in these troubling times when our population is dealing with COVID-19. Many Guyanese and international bodies and stakeholders have expressed disgust at the current political situation. They continue to call for strong action in ensuring the will of the people is respected. I want to assure all Guyanese that we understand the frustration perpetuated to the entire country by a handful who can be characterized as undemocratic forces. We have seen examples right within our region how undemocratic forces undermine development and freedom. I assure Guyanese that those undemocratic forces will not succeed. The will of the people must be and will be honored. There is no compromise on this. I've heard the many calls for firm action. I assure you that in consultation with all stakeholders, we will determine avenues for you to show your resolve in ensuring democracy prevails. These activities, as always, will be within the rule of law and, most importantly, taking your health and safety into consideration. We have had enough delays. It is time that the new administration commence work in the interests of all Guyanese. In transitioning to government, I am aware that we must immediately tackle a number of issues. Paramount to these is the COVID-19 pandemic. To this end, the Multi-Stakeholder Forum, in consultation with many stakeholders, has advised me on a number of measures. After examining these in consultation with professionals in the various fields, these are the immediate plan of action. 1. Rapidly increase the capacity for testing. Invest in adequate measures to address hospitalization. Decentralizing our response, building capacity in every region. Provide adequate PPE for frontline staff. Provide transportation for frontline workers. PCR testing for arriving passengers within 24 hours. Accommodation facilities for health workers. Introduce additional treatment options. Financial and economic relief were also discussed. Among the recommendations are subsidies for distressed business, deferral of loan payments at least 6 months, address overdraft loan for businesses to deal with working capital, waive import duties on COVID-19 medical supplies, whilst we zero-rate tax on sanitation products. Defer tax filings deadline. Defer income, corporate, property, and VAT tax obligations for 6 months. Waive taxes on data plans with immediate effect. Reduce taxes on fuel. Speed up tax refunds by GRA. Consult with insurance companies to extend coverage. In dealing with social support, the following recommendations were made. Support low-income housing and families. Reduction in utility services. Provide assistance to volunteers, vulnerable people, and pensioners. Reduce cost of data. Provide students with cash vouchers to facilitate e-learning. Looking at workers' welfare, the following were recommended. Relook at the threshold and increase it to allow for lower taxation or no taxation for employees in vulnerable sectors. Removal of mortgage interest and property tax for a period of 6 months. Work with commercial banks to reduce the spread, that is the difference between lending and saving rates. Emergency support for small businesses at the risk of closure. Work with businesses to extend time to pay higher purchases. Notwithstanding the difficulties the existing environment pose, we have had experience in managing crisis situations. You'll recall in 2005, after the floods, 35% of our housing sector was damaged and destroyed. 17.65% of the productive sector was damaged and destroyed. The sugar industry recorded damages equivalent to 16% of GDP. However, we successfully rebooted and rebuilt the economy to one of the strongest and fastest growing in Latin America and the Caribbean up to 2014. This brings me to another important issue that we must address in the new government. That is the national budget. Important issues we must address include unemployment, decline in the economy, security, both internal and external, declining services in the social sector. As we speak, sugar, we have lost 76 million US dollars in export earning from sugar, 211 million US dollars in export earning from rice. Our fishing sector declined by 40,000 tons of fish and shrimp. Our forestry sector lost more than $10 billion. We saw a decline in gold production from small and medium-sized mining. Bauxite lost $2 billion. Indeed, our productive sector is in crisis, and we must address the crisis in the productive sector with sound policies and taxation principles that would allow the growth and return of investment in this sector. Coupled with the state of our economy and COVID-19, it would require a sound, well thought out, and prudent allocation of resources in the next budget. In ensuring our budget is reflective and address the concerns of all stakeholders, I have put together a consultative body with the task of determining the latest economic data in consultation with the Bank of Guyana and other stakeholders, write to the Ministry of Finance seeking a statement on all outstanding liabilities and ongoing projects, consult at the regional levels with RDCs, NDCs, business chambers, civil society, community and religious leaders on regional priorities, consult with all political parties who contested the 2020 elections, consult at the national level with the Private Sector Commission, civil society bodies, trade unions, right commissions, and the Gold and Diamond Mining Association. Consult with manufacturing, services, tourism, fishery, agriculture, sport, youths, and women representatives. Consult with our international partners in our effort to combat international crime, money laundering, drug trafficking, and undemocratic regimes. The consultative committee will comprise of a broad-based grouping, including professionals and representatives from other political groupings. I assure every Guyanese that from day one, we will deliver on the promises in our manifesto. My government will work in an inclusive manner to have a budget that reflects the aspirations and priorities of every Guyanese. Of great importance is our security, internal and external. I have asked Brigadier Mark Phillips to convene a meeting with the leadership of the disciplinary forces to have an update on current challenges and issues to be addressed. I've also asked him to seek an audience with our international partners on border security and regional and international collaboration. We are committed to working with our pro-democratic partners in building international peace and democracy. In conclusion, I wish to thank Guyanese and the international community for their continued support and resilience in ensuring our democratic values are secured. The task ahead is for us to construct a Guyana that all of us must be proud of and feel a part of. This can only be achieved through meaningful involvement, respect, dignity, adherence to our Constitution and the rule of law. In addressing issues of building trust, reducing inequality, and building a safe country, we all have to play our part. We all have to be subjected to democratic traditions. Can we do this? Yes, we can. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Adhere to the COVID-19 protocols. God bless each of you and your families. Thank you.